All right, we are recording. So, hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. It's like I said, it's we're kind of doing things on the fly. Lauren really wanted to cover something about the central nervous system, and just I asked her if she could pass the information on to me, and she's like, "No, it's all kind of in my head." And I was like, "Oh, okay, then
Next time
we'll do that next week then." So next week is going to be talking a little bit about the central nervous system and things you can do to kind of keep that, and what the importance of keeping your immune system boosted. And she's got a whole slew of stuff that goes with that. But so we changed up the game plan. We're gonna start off with some questions and answers. If you guys have some questions, we'll be happy to help you through or answer them. If you have something that we are not able to answer, I will write them down and I will get them to Lauren, and we'll see if she can help walk us through those. But once we go through the question and answer period, I do have some other things to talk about. I did want to talk about a little bit about the respiratory system, and a couple of different oils like breathe, thyme, and frankincense. So that's the game plan. All right. So how have you guys been doing, being hunkered down for over a week now? Getting through it?
Yeah, stir crazy.
Luckily,
I can sit out in my garage, or I have my lanai, but it's actually hotter back in my garage. But I still get the pollen.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about any of the stuff we went over last week, or anything that they've tried this past week?
I have something that I went online to order some things from the company, and of course they are really out of a lot of the things I was looking at with in relationship to On Guard. But for whatever reason, at some training I had in the past with you guys, I had heard about Purify.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's really mentioning Purify. Purify is available. I actually started using it. I keep it a small spray bottle on my desk at all times because I was having to do, until just recently, I was having to do finger sticks several times a day. And so I would wash my hands and then use the Purify. So I'm wondering, like, somebody else using that. I thought I remember hearing at some point, and I'm not sure if my memory is not serving me properly, that it actually in some ways was better than
What are you looking for?
What's the other name for Purify?
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I have my book.
I want to say cleansing blend? No.
You should always have one of those.
Yeah, cleansing blend.
Ooh. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
There it is, honey. You find it.
Lemon, Siberian fir, citronella, lime, melaleuca, aka tree oil, and cilantro.
Okay, so yeah, Purify is really another one that could play into this. I myself am not a big fan of the odor of Purify, but it does have a lot of the characteristics for cleaning. I find that more for cleaning countertops.
Yeah.
Cleaning refrigerator, the front of the refrigerator, and also diffusing that.
I think I have that one.
And if you look, it says to kill the germs and microbe, it really should only be diffused. And if you're going to use it for surface cleaning, put that in with 1 tablespoon of vinegar.
Okay. Okay, are you using that just water and Purify, or what? What's the?
No, I use Purify and the fractionated coconut oil.
Okay. Is that like a 50-50 rate, or do you know what the percentage is by chance?
I did make it a while ago, and I'm not, I don't believe it. I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's probably more like 25-75.
Okay.
Is that a blend, oil blend, or is that
Yeah.
just?
Yes, it is. It's one of the proprietary blends. It's called cleansing blend, but it's also known, most of us know it as Purify.
Okay.
Angelo,
Yes.
we need to get ourselves a lab and start testing this stuff.
Right.
I wish I had a way of keeping track of all the bits of information I've learned at various trainings and at, watching the annual conferences that so many speakers say so many things, and like trying to keep that all in my head. But I think that this is what I remember, and I will keep looking through my notes to try to find it because I didn't find it, was that it actually kills cells better on a surface than any other of the oils that
I
we
think I
have.
remember that
They
too.
stay dead. The surface stays cleaner for a longer period of time. That's what
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Like,
Does it also talk about not only if you spray it on the surface and let it air dry,
Yeah.
or were they talking about wiping it down immediately? Do you remember?
I just remember them, they were talking about cleansing, and my recollection was that you would wipe down the surfaces.
I remember that in one of our classes. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It surprised me because we always talk about the oregano, we always talk about On Guard, but at that one time it was mentioned. And the only reason I was mentioning it again tonight was because it is something that is available, whereas a lot of the On Guard products are not.
But,
I mean, you
but
can't.
like Angelo said, we don't really like the smell of it, so we don't use it very often, but we have used it for cleaning.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
What you could do if you don't like the smell, probably, because I think it's probably the citronellas we've talked about before, is you could add more. I don't know how you feel about the lime or how you feel about lemon. Those are two of my favorite smells.
Yeah.
In fact, the first doTERRA I ever bought was lime. So I would think you could add that to it and it would probably help make the smell. I'm not offended by any of the smells. I don't know why, but I think that could help if somebody really liked that citrusy lime.
Yeah.
That's a good
well,
idea.
and even
Yeah,
with
but-
that, why not throw some cinnamon or clove in there to offset that?
Yeah, because they're nice, real strong scents too.
Yeah, to cover up the other. The other thing, Angelo, what you were saying about, yeah, wipe it down, but I would allow it to air dry to increase your contact time, to make sure that you're really getting that. And that's the thing that I noticed, that a lot of people, when they disinfect things, they spray it and then they dry it right away. And these agents, whether it's a natural agent or a chemical agent, it needs time to react. And most of the products that I've seen, whether it's natural based or chemical based, 10-minute contact time in the wet state.
So yeah, 10 minutes can almost give you a complete drying time on some of, if
Yeah,
you're
and
using your spray bottle.
Right, and if it isn't dry after 10 minutes, then yeah, you wipe up. But you got to make sure that if you do have like a lot of water in it, if it's a surface that's going to be damaged by it, then that might not be the option for you.
Right.
And you also got to be careful about surfaces that are porous, like if you have like a granite kitchen countertop, because that'll absorb into there real quick as well.
Yeah, it will.
Hey,
You
Sherry,
should
it
have given
says
me that
Purify is good for
Angelo.
allergies too.
What? What'd you say?
It says Purify is good for allergies too.
Well, I may have to get some because I don't have it. So Yeah, I've been making my own foaming soap, which I'm very proud of.
Yay.
Good, good.
Jose. So that's another thing I use at my sink, because that's where I wash my hands the most. I don't have it in my bathroom, but I do have other stuff. But I use it at my sink. Actually, what I did is I cheated. It was an old Bath and Body foam bottle. I just ripped it out and then filled that up with what I was supposed to fill with. So
Yeah,
it
that's
worked.
all you need is just the
Yeah.
part that so it aerates it as you're pumping it out.
Yes.
See, I want to make mine. What I cannot find in the York area is Castile soap.
Really?
Oh, Target has it.
Yeah, you go to Target?
No, they don't.
No.
The Targets here in York are sold out.
Wow.
Unless you go with some of the heavier scents, and I just want the plain stuff.
Right.
Well, baby scent's not bad.
Okay.
It's very mild. Because
We-
I couldn't get the plain either, but I got the baby scent, and it's very mild. Actually, you can smell the oils over any scent, that baby scent.
Yeah, baby scent wasn't there. It was some of the stronger ones, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I got a big bottle of it, and I thought I got it at Target. But down
Well,
here, it's different.
That's what we get it, but sometimes Wegmans, we've gotten it at Wegmans too. So
Okay.
I don't know what you have down there other than Target, Sean.
I don't have a Wegmans. I would have to come up to see you, and then you're going to lure me into those darn Italian cookies.
So, all right. If anybody's out and about and they see Castile soap, obviously that's on the hard to get commodity list right now. I can't find vegetable glycerine anywhere. That's gone.
Oh. What do you use that for? What do you mix it with something?
Use that in the hand sanitizing mister ingredients that I posted on Facebook.
Okay.
Angelo,
Yeah.
take a look at your theatrical arts. That's where I got my last glycerin.
Okay.
What would that be? Where?
Now a lot of them are probably closed, but if you can shop online, because that and water makes great sweat for diaphoresis.
Yeah, for our mock-up patients.
Yeah, and that's where I've gotten mine. The other place that you can look at it, and it's typically behind the counter, is ask your pharmacist.
Oh.
Hey, guys,
Yes, Connie.
I have to leave because I only stopped in quickly. I have something going on for work on the Facebook here. So I stopped in to say hi.
All right.
Hi.
Well, glad you could join us for a little bit.
Yeah,
And we'll post this recording a little bit later on
I'll
tonight.
get it later. All right, thank you. Bye.
See you,
All
Connie.
right. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
I just looked up Castile soap, but I know I got mine through Amazon. But there's also a website that's called Plant Therapy Castile soap. They have there, and it's like 18 ounces for $20.
Yeah.
16 ounces for
Plant therapy.
called Plant Therapy.
Okay.
And actually, if you just type in Castile soap, a lot of people like Dr. Bronner's.
Yeah.
They
That's
have that listed a lot. So there, it does seem like it might be available at different places.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. See, this is what I love, sharing information.
Angelo, you posted something the other day about there was a recipe and to take 10 days off. Use it no more than 10 days and then stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I read that somewhere.
That is, I talked about that. We talked about that a little bit last week too. That was a recipe that had an internal recipe of oils to help with cold and flu-like symptoms.
Right.
And it had oregano in there. So that the The ongoing conversation is, do I take oregano for 10 days, then come off for 10 days? Or is it okay to take it every day? And what we have found is that there's a couple of folks that go see Dr. Herzog over here and down towards Dillsburg. She's a naturopath, and she does prescribe the On Guard Plus capsules, one a day, to a handful of folks that I know that go to see her. And you know, On Guard Plus has oregano in there. So what it is, if you take 1 to 2 drops a day, then you can take oregano on a daily basis. It's when you're doing like the flume, or you're putting three drops of oregano in and you're taking it 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, that's when you're going to get a little bit of an overload there. So you don't want to, that's something you want to do for about 10 days and then come off for a little bit. But if you can do 1 or 2 drops a day and be fine. I've actually started adding that to my capsule every day. I do 1 drop of oregano, 2 drops of On Guard, 4 drops of DDR Prime, and I throw a couple drops of pink pepper in there to help with the cellular health.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as if you're going to take 12 drops of oregano in a day, you only want to do that for no more than 10 days in a row. And
Right now with that, well, you saw my lineup. I do 2 drops in the morning and 2 drops in the evening.
okay, you may want to consider backing it down to 1 drop in the morning and 1 in the evening.
I'll do that on this next round that I make.
Yeah,
Okay.
because of the other things that you have in that pill, in that capsule. I think 1 drop in the morning and the evening will suffice.
And I'm just wondering, with all the oils that I'm throwing in there, if not just to drop that back to 1 of everything.
You
That's
could.
another conversation we can have later.
Yeah, that's always an option. You can always make adjustments to that. We may want to talk about that later, take a closer look at that.
Now,
Can I just say one thing about what you were talking about? When I
Yeah.
first got in the business, I called doTERRA about oregano.
Okay.
And the person I talked to on the phone said, we do not limit your time frame for oregano. However, having said that, this is a debate that's out there. I know about this because of a previous business. This is a debate that's out there also in relationship to oregano. In echinacea. Because the idea is that if you use it every day, your body develops an immunity to it. And so therefore, when you really would need it, it would not help you as much. And so the recommendation is to take echinacea the same way. Take it 10 days and then stop taking it. So, but she told me, now that would have been 3 years ago, I guess.
Mhm.
But she said there was no limitation to taking their oregano.
Okay. And again, once this thing passes, I will probably stop putting oregano in my capsule. I try to listen to my body, and like right now I do want to boost my immune system up a little bit more. I want to be careful that I get enough sleep. I want to be careful that I eat the right things. And really the hardest part right now is getting the right amount of exercise. But so you asked me what I take for a capsule, and my answer today may be different than what it was, 3 months ago, and 3 months from now, it may be a little bit different.
Angelo,
Yes.
for exercise, online you can download the Prisoners Workout.
Hey,
It's an all body workout, and there's an app called the 7-Minute Workout. They have one, a line developed for females. They have a line for males. They have one just for buttocks. They have one just for abs, or they have a whole body, and it does the circuit training. Like you start off with jumping jacks. Then you do a wall squat, and you hold that for like 45 seconds. And then you go and do push-ups. Then you go and do lunges, and it literally works the whole body.
Okay.
That's 7 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I have to make sure that I drop my basal back 50%, because if not, in 2 hours my blood sugars drop.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice little workout in 7 minutes.
Okay.
And they teach you how to make a shiv.
Okay, you're a bad girl.
I'm sorry.
I like her.
Next.
About, you talked about the adaptive blend last week. Is that as for sleeping? Is that as good as Serenity?
You know, I was using it for a week. I was using it with Serenity.
Oh, really?
I was diffusing it, and I was putting 3 drops of each in the diffuser.
Okay.
And I would wake up about 3 o'clock, between 3 and 4 o'clock every night, and I was wide awake. And my body was like, okay, nice little nap. Let's get up and do something. And then I'd get up because I don't want to bother Elaine. And then I crawl back into bed at about 6:30 in the morning because I'm tired again finally. And I got to a point where I was like, I had to stop using the adaptive.
And yet we have friends who use that. They're addicted to using it. What is Rebecca?
Rebecca does the Serenity and adaptive.
Adaptive. She can't sleep without it.
Well, I use the Serenity. I just started using about a month ago, the Serenity capsules.
Yeah,
Okay.
I use those.
And I do like them. I mean, now there are nights they'll come along and then I can't fall asleep at all and I'm up to 3 in the morning. But, you know, that's just how, as you get older, your body just gets weirder, I think.
Yeah.
It just does. I mean, but.
And there are some people that take the Serenity and find that it actually is an agitator. Just my husband is that way. He can't have it in a diffuser or put it on his feet. But he's also like Benadryl. I can take Benadryl to calm, you know, like when I have a bee sting or things like that, and it always makes me sleepy. He will get more hyper. He kind of has the child's response to things.
Yes.
So that might be part of what happens with the adaptive. You just are having the opposite response to what you should.
Maybe it's sad because I like the smell. What I should do is use the rollerball during the day to see if that actually gives me more energy.
Oh, you might be good. I know. You know, most people that takes prednisone for whatever reason, and my niece is one of them. She's ADHD. When she takes prednisone, it makes her sleepy. Most people makes you hyper. So
those opposite ones.
Yeah, and it may be because of her ADHD. I don't know, but.
I'm looking at adaptive and the ingredients in there, and I'm just wondering if it works on the premise of the inverted U, like Ritalin, where for some that it pushes them up, that gets them motivated to give them that focus, where other ones that are so hyped up, it pushes them over to the other side that it chills them out. Now I'm switching when I take the adaptive. I was taking it in the morning. I'm now taking it at night. So I just started last night, so I don't know yet. But I want to see if it makes a difference for me.
Yeah, Lauren said, I believe Lauren said she takes hers at night too.
Correct.
So
yeah, but I'm just looking at some of the oils and the properties of those oils, and I'm thinking that it's kind of like Ritalin, and depending on what your biochemistry is and how you react with those oils, does it push you up? That for like you, Angela, it looks like it's going to rev you up, and Elaine, it sounds like it pushes you over and chills you out.
Yep. I take it at lunch and just once a day. Then I take Serenity at night.
Yeah, I do like Serenity.
Yep.
Sherry, do you take one capsule or two?
One.
Okay. Because I took one capsule 3 nights ago. I slept okay. I took 2 capsules last night and the night before, and I slept better. I was at least sleeping till about 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
Maybe I should try 2 when I know I'm like more revved.
Yeah,
Or-
there you go.
Like last night, I was up till, I can't tell you. I was like, and then you're like,
do you
Right.
take those capsules right before you go to bed, or they're like 30 minutes before you go to bed? Or
about 30 minutes.
okay, that's the recommendation. So,
Yeah.
are you on your computer in that
No.
during that?
No, I
Okay.
read the book. I don't read from a Kindle.
Okay.
I like the books in mine. I do
Yes.
read a little,
Yes.
And yes. And
The
most
only way to read is with a book.
of the time, like in a half hour, I put the book down, I'm ready to sleep. But last night, it's like, I could have probably read all night.
It happens. It happens. So
That's happened.
Now, let me ask you this question. With the Serenity soft gels, do you
Yes.
also do the Serenity oil for either as a roller ball or diffusing it?
No, I'm going to put it in my diffuser. I have one in my bedroom and I have one in here in the house, the main part. And I haven't used the oil, but I'll try that with the capsule. I take 1 capsule every night, but I didn't know you could take more than 1.
yeah.
All right, that's good to know.
Do you ever put vetiver on your feet?
Jennifer?
Vetiver.
Vetiver.
Oh, no, I don't have it. Is that a good one?
For
Well,
some,
yeah, not Elaine.
not Elaine.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
like
They're
another,
actually studying that with people who have mental illness. So that might be why it works for me. But
say thanks, Kay.
people
You're
brain,
all in good company.
yeah. Hey, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
Yep.
But anyway, it's supposed to kind of chill out that thing that goes on in your head where you can't stop thinking. That thoughts keep, going through your head and going through your head, which people with mania would have. And so, I put it on my feet actually first thing in the morning also.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Just a drop. Yeah.
I got one of the free, I don't even know the name of it. It starts with a P. The free oil this month.
Yeah.
Really don't know do you know exactly what it's used for, what it's good for?
You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to take these oils because, Summer Savory, that was a special.
Yeah, I know.
Hinoki oil was another special. And I was like, nobody knows what to do with that. Believe it or not, some of those oils are actually in the books. So it's like, oh, they knew these were coming. But I may do a Facebook Live thing where I just talk about the oil for a few minutes, just so to pass that information on, because people were not getting the information. They've just recently started providing product information pages for those. Hinoki oil was the first one.
I thought you said Pinocchio.
I'm not lying.
Oh.
Starting to
But and there's been some podcasts on the oils as well. But if you don't listen to podcasts, then you don't know. But I've been seriously thinking about doing that like a Sunday afternoon thing. Just jump online for about 20-30 minutes and just talk about whatever oil that is, because we've been getting a lot of oils lately that aren't in the normal
channel.
Yeah.
Talking about them. Yeah.
What book did you look at? Which book did you just hand?
Essential Life.
Essential Life book.
The one I have, but this is an older one. This is the one.
What version do you have?
Probably an old one.
Probably.
Because they're actually up to 6.
I actually got it from you. So you know how long ago that was?
You probably have 2 or 3.
second edition.
Second. Okay.
You're behind a
Four
little bit,
editions
Sherry.
behind.
Or 6?
Yeah, they have 6 now.
Oh, well, I have to update it.
So,
And then what you do with the old book is you take it to a doctor's office and put it where the magazines are and put your card inside and say, if any of this interests you, give me a call. And that way.
Actually, we have a lot of doTERRA. When we have festivals, there are a lot that sell it and they want you to like come to their, join them. And I said, I already joined one, but you can't order. I can order on my own, so it doesn't bother me, but you could go to their classes, but then she'll want you to sign up with her. And I said, no, because but there are a lot of people that sell it down here.
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes what happens, Sherry, is when you sign on with somebody, and like in your situation, you move.
Yeah,
You lose that connectivity,
you
or
do.
your upline doesn't provide any further education or anything. So they're.
Don't
you know,
worry,
they're trying-
I'm not switching.
No,
Don't
no, but that's why they come at you like that, is that they do offer the education.
Right.
So I don't fault them for that, but I appreciate. I'm just thankful you're still part of our team.
Yes. Well, I loved all your classes back when I was living in Harrisburg. So you may see me someday. I may move back. I've been thinking about it.
Uh-oh.
I miss all my friends. I really do. And I had 3 of my friends come down to Kissimmee. They had a timeshare, and I went up there for a week, and I had a ball with them. And that reminds me how much I miss them.
Yeah. So.
Well,
All right. Any other questions or comments or recipes that people want to share? So I want to talk real quick about something that Stephanie Poe had talked about last week, and I posted her video in our Facebook group. Has anybody had a chance to go watch that? I know, Kay, you don't have Facebook, so I didn't have the ability to get it to email. But
I missed that.
I did too. I missed it.
okay, well, I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version of it.
Okay.
Stephanie Poe is a diamond within our team. She's part of Jen Kruva's team, and she her passion is short of biology, but it's specifically within the respiratory system. She's always it's always fascinated her, and she presented at last year's Carlisle event. She's going to present again this year at the Carlisle event when we have it in November. But she is a researcher. She loves to kind of figure out the whys and the hows. So really quick, respiratory system in this simplistic form of it, the respiratory system is not only responsible for breathing air in and out, but it also warms the air and it humidifies the air as we breathe it in. The lungs exchange the oxygen for carbon dioxide, and the heart pumps that oxygenated blood throughout our body. So in addition to that, there's little cilia in the lungs, and that when the lungs secrete mucus, that cilia helps push it out of our lungs, and it does so that's when we cough, when we sneeze, when we get gunk in our lungs, it's time to expel that, so it get rid of it. And Sean, I know you have seen it, and maybe a lot of you have seen it, where a respiratory illness can be pretty debilitating for people sometimes, right?
Oh yeah.
So, so we know the importance of having a really good respiratory system. If you go back to the video that Stephanie did, she talks a little bit about viruses and why viruses are so why we are so vulnerable to viruses. And what happens is basically the virus has a protective outer coating, if you will, right? It's not actually a protectant of the virus, but it's called a glycoprotein, and it's this outer shell, and that glycoprotein enables the shell, the virus, to attach to the cells, and then it can actually help penetrate into the cells. So that's how virus works in a very condensed form. But what happens is the thyme oil disrupts that outer coating and the ability for that virus to adhere to a cell and ultimately penetrate the cell. So we're gonna get a little bit more on that a little bit later on. So I want to talk a little bit about the COVID-19, and what we're seeing is one of the primary reasons as to why people are dying from this virus is they go into what we call ARDS. It's an acute respiratory distress syndrome. And it's usually an after effect of getting the virus. And what happens is it's basically an uncontrolled systemic inflammatory response. The immune system throws mediators at it called cytokines, and they're basically storming the body and sending your immune system into this seriously overdrive type effect. Stephanie did a paper a while back. She was just talking about it. She didn't actually have the paper or cite the paper, but one of her theses that she did, she was looking at pneumonia and found out that the problem wasn't the bacteria with the ammonia, wasn't the bacteria, but it was the immune system that won't shut off, is what happens with pneumonia. So bacteria is bad, yes, but it's that cytokines are just the storm in the body, and that immune system just doesn't shut off. You have so much inflammation going on that this causes damage to the cells and ultimately to your lung tissue. So this is why she started looking really hard into thyme when she found out that thyme disrupts that glycoprotein outer shell on the virus. So there's evidence that this protective layer of the virus, that thyme will disrupt it, but it's also thyme is not a pro-inflammatory type of oil. So basically what that means is, so there's these cells called macrophage. These are kind of like mediator cells, and they direct how the immune system's going to react or behave based on these cytokines that come out. Well, when thyme is introduced, there is a significant decrease in that pro-inflammatory cytokines and an increase in something they call interleukin 10, which is an anti-inflammatory. Now, I know that's a little bit sciencey right there, but basically what's happening is you got all these cytokines from your immune system that's overreacting, causing damage to cells, and it's causing such extensive damage that that's why people are dying. Thyme disrupts that glycoprotein, so it won't adhere to your cells and it won't be able to penetrate into your cells. This is what she's saying. And not only is it not a pro-inflammatory, but it also increases the interleukin 10, and that's the anti-inflammatory. That's what she did her study on trying to increase that interleukin 10, so that you have more anti-inflammatory stuff happening rather than inflammatory stuff. So that's why thyme is so effective in this, and frankincense also does similar things to that. And she was talking specifically about DDR prime at the time, which has thyme in it. It has frankincense. Has a couple other oils in there that are really good, and they just totally, I didn't write them down, so they ran away from my mind. But that's why DDR prime works so well when they were talking about boosting the immune system, because of the thyme that's in there, and that the cytokine storm, it helps mitigate that and helps regulate that a little bit better. And more importantly, it's the interleukin 10, so it has more anti-inflammatory abilities in there. That is why DDR prime and On Guard are so highly thought of for boosting the immune system. Whereas, and Kay, I'd have to look into Purify a little bit more to see if it does those type of things. As far as a cleaner, absolutely. But I know we can't take Purify internally, but I would have to research Purify a little bit more to see what kind of other properties.
We have arm problems here.
Arm problem?
We're sitting at the bar with the bar chairs, and they have arms on them. And
Oh,
for me to get in the picture and be close to him, our arms are bumping.
Oh, I see arms of the chair.
Yes.
Not these
Not
arms.
these arms.
Hey, Angelo.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking at some of the virology of the coronavirus, and it's an enveloped virus, which means that it has a lipid layer in addition to that glycoprotein coat. So what else can we throw at it to break down that lipid layer? So, because that lipid layer is responsible for the attachment to the cells. It makes it sticky so that it sticks, and then it allows that glycoprotein that has those little spikies that you see in the pictures to attach to the cellular receptors to impregnate the cell.
Right.
So I'm thinking if we could break that lipid layer down, it's not going to bind to anything.
I thought many of the oils do that, because when we talk about them going through the blood-brain barrier, that they can do that because they are lipid soluble. Am I remembering that right?
Well, I'm just wondering, because in chemistry, and Elaine, you'll remember this, like dissolves like. So I wonder if these oils in general, like the frank and the thyme, because they are anti-inflammatory agents. And there's I have a whole list here of other ones that are anti-inflammatories. Chamomile, bergamot, lavender, marjoram, eucalyptus, peppermint, rosemary, sandalwood, ginger, wintergreen, vetiver, helichrysum, black pepper, lemongrass, and rose geranium are the ones that have anti-inflammatory properties. So, and I'm just wondering if by putting that in there, if that is basically going to become our chloroquine.
I'm going to have to chase that down a little bit. Lauren might actually know some of this stuff, or at least give us a starting point to start looking. So I'm going to take that to her and demand she stop doing what she's doing and find us an answer.
Really?
So,
Stop helping people and help us.
but I wasn't aware that the Rona, as they're calling it, has a lipid layer outside that glycoprotein layer. So we will have to look into that a little bit more. But interesting thought. Hi, Jackie.
Is she on? She was just looking at it, but she come on.
So, all right, so cool. Wow, that's some good info right there.
Yes.
Do you want me to email you that list of the oils I rattled off at you?
I was actually just going to go to the chart in the back of the book. Is that where you went to? Or?
No, I did some other research when I was having a lot of inflammatory pain. It's like, okay, what are my oils? Because when I needed something to block the pain, I wanted a COX-2 inhibitor. And so what oils have anti-inflammatory and which ones also give me that COX-2. So I'll send my notes.
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead and
type
send them that.
and send
Absolutely.
them over to you, and you can distribute appropriately.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Diffusers.
I'm going to talk about diffusers real quick. We do have a couple minutes left.
Hey. I'm a diffuser person.
Now, when I decided to talk about diffusers, I'm not going to go with recipes because there's just so many things out there, and you really, it's really, what are you looking for? Are you looking for just a clean the air type of thing, or a mood thing, or whatever?
Stuffy.
So what I really wanted to do was kind of show you some differences in and among the different types of diffusers that are out there. One of the first things you need to look at is the size of the room that you're going to use this, because that plays into it a lot. Now, this is the pedal diffuser. This is the older version. This isn't the newer ones go up to 12 hours, I think. This one does 8. No, this is 1, 2, or 4.
Yeah, I just like it for, this one I put on during the day just for an hour to, clean the air or put something out there for me. I don't need it going all the time.
Yeah. Now, this one is good for about 300 square feet, 330 square feet. So bedroom-ish size, these are perfect. Now, if you've been to our house, we have a big open area from our TV to our dining room into our room of requirement here that we just kind of make whatever. Now, we do use this in the big, exactly what I'm talking about.
I always ask people, I said, are you familiar with Harry Potter? And if they say yes, I said, this is our room of requirement.
I love it.
We change it to fit.
So that technically isn't a big enough diffuser for that area, but it's big enough for us because we're sitting close enough so we're getting the benefits of that. Do I turn that on over by the TV and then come all the way over here to this other room? No, it's not going to be that effective, right? So as long as you're close proximity to the diffuser, then you're going to get the benefits of it.
Beady, 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 beady.
This one is, do you have this one too?
Oh, yes, I do. I think it was on sale way back when.
Yeah.
I use that in my bedroom because it
Okay.
goes for hours, even though I do it before I take a shower and everything. It starts. Yeah, I use that a lot every night.
Yeah, this is a whisper diffuser, and it is that. It's very quiet machine.
It bubbles though, I hear it.
Yeah.
No, I don't hear it bubbling because I switched diffusers. I put the one I had out here, and it kept me awake. I kept hearing and I went back to this one, and it's very quiet.
Yeah.
Very.
This one can go up to 9 hours. It'll do an intermittent thing. It will like come on for 15 seconds, then off for 45, or off for 2 minutes, and then on for 15 seconds. And yeah, it's a very quiet machine. Now, this one is actually good for, they say 900 square feet. I've never tested it, but this would be one that I could put in our dining room and see if we can get that smell, and over to the TV and out over this room and into the kitchen area. But I don't use this one much. This is kind of like one of our spare ones right now.
Oh, I like that.
Where did you get that, Angela? Because I don't remember seeing that on doTERRA's site.
It is not. It is, hold on, let me get the...
Did Aroma Tools have it? I got it somewhere.
They used to.
Because I got it was a special on it. It was marked down a little bit. And I thought, oh, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's I have aromareadyproducts.com.
Thank you.
Here's another one.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. It's a nice one. It's pretty effective. The last one I'm going to show you, this is the Aroma Ace diffuser. Now, the first two were ultrasonic diffusers, meaning it breaks the particles down into finer particles, so they kind of float around in the air a little bit longer. When you breathe them in, they can get deeper down into your lungs because, again, it's smaller particles. Now, this ACE diffuser is more like a nebulizer diffuser. It's going to be heavier particles.
Is that ACE?
ACE, yeah.
Okay.
And what you do is you actually hook the entire bottle up to the device. You have your little spout, and this is a bottle of On Guard. It goes right onto the 15 milliliter bottles, and then quarter turn, it's locked on. And now these are a little bit louder. This is not something you're going to put next to you in the bed because it is that loud. I'll let you.
Oh yeah, I couldn't sleep with that.
Yeah, it's a little bit louder. The thing I like about it though is on the back. I don't know if you can see it, but you can run it for several minutes, and there's an on time and an off time, so you can have it go for 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off.
That is nice.
This bottom dial is the intensity or the concentration that you want. So if you want a lot of the oil to come out at one time, you can turn it up higher. It gets the oil dissipated into the air a lot faster. But Sharon started using this a while back, and she was telling me that she set it on kind of the low settings, and she was getting about 3 to 3.5 weeks out of a 15 milliliter bottle of On Guard, and she was diffusing it all day. She turned it off at night, but it was pretty much going all day. So it does use the oil up quicker, and of course, because you have the ability to increase or decrease the amount of oil that you want to diffuse at a time, you know, it could go a lot faster than that too.
But you need a small room for that?
I think, again, this one I think is 300-ish square feet. But again, it's a heavier particle, so they're going to fall to the ground sooner. They're not going to hang out in the air as long.
I wonder if you put it up elevated, if that would help.
It probably would.
And like you have a ceiling fan, that should also.
That will also help. Yeah, that will also help dissipate it through the room. So.
That ACE, Terra doesn't sell it, right? The ACE.
Yes.
Oh, they do?
They used to. They used to. They may not now. I'd have to go back and look now that I think about it.
Check just to kind of see if there's anything new on your diffusers. Every month I go in, and it might not have been this month. It might have been last month I checked, and I didn't see that. So.
Okay. They may have discontinued it because I know when I purchased it, it came with a bottle of On Guard.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
So, but again, I've had this one at least 4, maybe 5 years.
Okay. So if you wake up stuffy, I use Breathe, and I forget some of the other ones I use. But Breathe I use everywhere. In here, because I'm always stuffy from these allergies down here. Is there any other good oil that you recommend other than Breathe and some of the other, I'm trying to think, I use that Copa, I never say it right, that Copa. Yeah, that's for pain, I know. So I use that too with it. I didn't know if any other stronger ones are better.
Well, I could tell you what you could do is grab your Essential Life book and there is a respiratory section in there.
Okay.
And it does have some different diffuser blends. There's a lot of good respiratory oils. Again,
Okay.
thyme, rosemary, lemon, lime. All the citrus oils are good for respiratory.
In mine too, also.
What was that?
I use a lot of citrus oils in mine also.
Okay. So start there. See what the Essential Life book has. What I do is when I try a different blend, one of the things I'll do is if it's like 3 different oils, I'll take those 3 oils, put them in my hand with the caps off, and I'll just kind of whiff it around and see if I like the smell. There's one blend I have that calls for, what is it? It's 2 lavender, 3 peppermint, 2 rosemary, and 3 eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is a fantastic respiratory oil.
I have that.
Yeah, it's our Mary Berry blend.
Yeah.
Now the original recipe called for 2 eucalyptus and 3 rosemary. I prefer eucalyptus over rosemary, so I swapped that. I went with 3 eucalyptus and 2 rosemary. I like the smell better.
Yeah.
We diffused that. That was actually one we caught on, not last winter, the winter before. It's called Mary Berry. We like it so much, we diffuse that 90% of the time in this house because it keeps our sinuses open. It's also cleaning the air.
And what is that again?
Okay, it's a Mary Berry.
Right.
And I use 2 lavender, 3 peppermint, 2 rosemary, 3 eucalyptus.
Now, comment for Sherry, and Angela, I need you to moderate this. You know, like if somebody uses niacin for more than 3 days, they get rebound. Is there the possibility of having rebound phenomenon from diffusing all these oils all the time?
That's a conversation that I've had in the past. Some people say that you can have that with oils, and so you may have to find yourself switching things up along the way. I've read another report that said if you diffuse something too much, too often, too long of a period of time, you do start building up kind of a resistance to it.
That's interesting.
So the recommendation for that was to diffuse for 1 to 2 hours and then take a few hours off. So you're not diffusing it all the time. I've always been an intermittent diffuser. I usually diffuse 2 or 3 or 4 times during the day. At night, I only diffuse for 2 hours and then it shuts off because I don't want it. I did diffuse for an 8-hour period, but again, I wasn't sleeping all that well, so I only diffused for 2 hours.
Well, that's interesting because I do use Breathe a lot in both diffusers. Now I want to tell you, my friend bought me one of these. Can you read it?
Yes. QUOOZ.
Yes, and this one is I keep this. It diffuses a lot of area. It comes out of the top, and it'll go up to 18 hours intermittent mist mode. Yes, and it's a 200 ml for the water you put in. And right. I've had that for at least 3 or 4 years, and it just keeps on going. It hasn't. You can change your hours. You can go 8 to 10 continuous or 18 intermittent.
There are a ton of diffusers out there.
Here.
Yeah.
Will you hold that up again?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one that my beautician bought me this in Harrisburg. It's QUOOZ. And it's a good, I've had other ones that broke, that weren't good, and everybody said they were good. They just didn't work. And this one just keeps on
It's a workhorse, huh?
It is, and I really like it. They come in different colors, if you can see the colors.
Yep.
And just so you know, the Ace is not sold. I just looked it up. It's not sold on doTERRA's website.
I
Okay.
didn't say.
I've seen it before too, but it's not.
I think when I was looking to replace my diffuser that leaked from the bottom and destroyed the top of my desk.
Oh, gee.
Oh yeah, I was not a happy camper.
Yep.
I think I saw them on Amazon.
What's this Q one?
No, the Ace.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, you can probably still find them there.
I was skeptical because it's like, wow, you're putting a whole bottle on there. If that's the only source, how quick is that going to suck it down?
Right.
Mhm.
Now, to caveat that, it does come with 2 empty bottles, so you can make your own blends up, right? If you wanted to do a 50-50 ratio of On Guard, you could do that. It doesn't have, you don't have to put the whole volatile oil on there.
Well, I'm wondering if you diluted that with like 50% tap water or distilled water,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if that would stretch it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that.
And it is on Amazon. It's $134.
For which
Yeah.
one?
The Ace.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember it being 130,
Yeah.
but it came with a bottle of On Guard, which was at the time $30. So all right, well, that's all I have for you tonight, guys.
Oh, that's good. That was all good information.
Okay. Glad you guys are finding this useful. We will do this again next Tuesday. Hopefully Lauren will be able to join us and she can talk about the nervous system and the importance of just how much of a game changer it is and an important player into our overall immune system.
Yeah.
Or, you know, she'll give you a lot more of the details behind that. But let's see where we are next week. And
Okay.
for now, we'll just plan on being here at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. I will
Yes.
send out emails and reminders, and I'll also get this one posted up and emailed out to those folks.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Bye, everyone.
was
Bye
good.
bye.
See ya.
See you guys.
Bye, Kay.
See ya, honey.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye bye.